Welcome back to the channel. I want to get right into it with this one. I don't think it's going to be long, but I want to show you these numbers because I think it's going to be fun to see how these change today versus tomorrow and possibly the next day as well as the 30 days of the project. It's been 30 days since the project launched, and people can now remove their accumulated yield without a penalty if they were relatively small in size and only were forced to stake for 30 days. That was the minimum stake length within ICSA. You're forced to stake for 30 days as a minimum, and those people are going to now be able to pull out their yield. Some of that yield is going to be ICSA, and I'm curious to see what happens. Are people going to sell it, or are they going to stake it? And I have a feeling that a portion of it is going to end up one way or another back in this ICSA staking pool. And I expect that my pool ownership is going to go down even further as there's more basically endpoints added to this pool. And so my endpoints is just not going to be as large relative to the pool size. And this is the first time in this project that this will be able to happen. And I wanted to share with you guys my current numbers with you before this happened so I can refer back and see what the change is. But that's all really interesting to me. So I want to also show you one other thing. One thing to be aware of if you are one of those people that has the ability to end your 30-day stake, just understand that when you run your end hedron stake function, that you're going to have to reset. If you run this function, you're gonna reset your stake points when you then restake. So even if you have 1 billion hedron, end your hedron stake and then pull out your ICSA and then add and then restake your hedron again, just understand that your points are going to reevaluate based on the current share rate, which has gone up relatively meaningfully since the beginning of the project when you first got in. And you're not going to have as much ownership of the pool for this same amount of hedron. One thing you can do is run the numbers yourself and see what your T points are, or you could also just log in with another address that doesn't have hedron, and then go to add hedron to stake. Just type in whatever amount of hedron you have and see what your T-share points are, compare it to the current T-share points, and you'll have an idea of where you'll be at. And you can also do the same thing when you if you know what amount of ICSA you have and you want to stake it in the ICSA staking pool, you can click add ICSA to stake, put in that new amount, and it'll give you your new endpoints. So this is 52.9 endpoints. If I added 100 ICSA to this pool, and I have 52.48. So you can kind of compare those numbers and see what's to the most advantaged for you. Also, of course, I would be aware that you're going to have to run a number of Ethereum transaction fees to do this, and just make sure you're taking that into account, that the gain that you're getting by running the transaction fee is worth more than the transaction fee. So of course, those are some obvious things I think to think through. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, but I want to compare these. One other thing I wanted to say, this is of course the ICSA staking pool, where the people that got in here were only able to get in on the first 14 days of the project. And if they go over here and click redeem ICSA, they remove themselves from this pool and they cannot get back in without buying someone else's NFT. You can't re-enter this pool. And realize, I don't think some people understand that if they click redeem ICSA, they remove themselves from the pool. This pool is all about hanging on. This is important because I want to clarify something, just make it so stinking clear. I put $1,000 in on the first day for 1 B point. That has yielded me so far 206.94 ICSA. This was worth $1,000. This 206 ICSA is not worth $1,000. So it is not to my advantage, as far as I can tell, in almost any way to pull out my ICSA. You could ask yourself if you think by staking this amount of ICSA, somehow you're going to be at more of an advantage for doing that. I don't think it's to your advantage. I would leave it in here. Don't be one of these people that has really just lost money by removing themselves from this pool. But if people do that, the pool ownership goes up, and I'm just watching my pool ownership slightly go up, and I'm watching the total supply of lots of NFTs slowly go down as people are pulling out. I would not have expected that people would pull out at this point. It just, like I said, doesn't seem to make sense to me. You're not getting the value that you put into the pool. To me, you might as well have just bought ICOSA off the market. I don't know. I can't think of a good reason to pull out and redeem your ICOSA. Keep holding. This is kind of a survival pool to see who can survive the longest, because the longer you're in it, the more advantage you have. As the longer you're in it, the more of the pool you own. And for me, this pool is set it, forget it for almost forever. You know, as long as I think the project is not going to completely fail, I have no reason to pull out my ICOSA. And I just want to make sure that if you're one of the people that thinks that redeeming your ICOSA is just pulling out your ICOSA and you're still going to accumulate yield in here, understand it's not the case. I think most of you guys know that, but I just had to say it. Anyway, these are my current numbers, and my current pool ownership is 0.0914, and I have a feeling this is going to go down a little bit over the next couple days as people probably invest a little bit. It'll be interesting to see. Wanted to share this with you guys. Just a quick video. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.